I came into this world 74 years ago. In that time, I've lived through 3 economic crises, survived 2 market collapses, and watched dozens of people's retirements disappear right in front of me. You know what they all had in common? Every single one of them was making good money. The average 53-year-old American man has $53,000 saved for retirement, not $870,000, $53,000. And here's the part that'll really shake you. That same man is probably earning the highest salary of his life right now. He owns a home. He takes vacations. His kids go to decent schools. He has a title at work that sounds impressive at dinner parties. And he thinks he's fine. That's exactly why he's headed for disaster. Back in 1987, I told a client the same thing I'm about to tell you. He didn't listen. In 2001, he called me. "Ryan," he said, "you were right." I've never forgotten that call, because by that point there was nothing left to say. I'm here today so that call never happens to you. Your 50s are not the peak most men believe they are. Financially speaking, this is the most dangerous decade of your life. I'm not some young guy on YouTube telling you this. I'm someone who has lived it, witnessed it, and sometimes couldn't prevent it. Today, I'm going to walk you through 4 traps. None of them were designed to destroy you. That's what makes them worse. Each one looks completely reasonable on its own. For 25 years, you've been saying yes to things that each made perfect sense. The mortgage you took when rates were low. The second car. The vacation property you convinced yourself was an investment. The private school you started when the kids were 8 and now can't reverse without blowing up their entire social world. The club membership, the lawn service, the housekeeper, dozens of subscriptions, including ones you've forgotten about. Every single decision passed the same test in your mind. Can I cover the monthly payment? That is the wrong question. Whether you can cover the monthly payment is a cash flow question. Wealth is an entirely different question. Let me introduce you to someone. Richard. 51 years old. $190,000 a year. Earning more than his father ever did in his life. His fixed monthly obligations. $12,500. His monthly take-home after taxes, roughly $10,600. Richard is running a $1,900 deficit before he buys a single grocery. Not because he's stupid, not because he's reckless, but because for 25 years he made individually reasonable decisions and never once calculated what they added up to in total. Back in the early 90s, I sat across from a client and told him to write down every fixed expense he had and add them up. He put the paper down and went pale. "Ryan," he said, "I've never looked at this number before." The number was $11,200. His monthly take-home was $9,800. If you're sitting at home right now, get a piece of paper and a pen. Write down every fixed obligation you have. Add it up. If that number exceeds 60% of your monthly take-home, you don't have a discipline problem. You have a structural problem. And budgeting doesn't fix structural problems. Cutting obligations does. One of those anchors needs to go. You already know which one. Now let me tell you about the most dangerous threat I've seen in 50 years in this business. And it has nothing to do with how much you've saved. It has everything to do with when the market decides to drop. Finance people call it sequence of returns risk. Sounds like something academics argue about over bad coffee. But in 2008, I watched it destroy real retirements belonging to real people. You're 58. You have $450,000 in your 401k. You plan to retire at 63. The market averages 7% a year over those 5 years. You arrive at retirement with roughly $630,000. Clean. Predictable. Exactly what the calculator told you. Now imagine the same scenario with one difference. In the first year of your retirement, the market drops 35%. Then it recovers. The next 19 years average 9%. On paper, the arithmetic average still looks fine, but you've been withdrawing 4% every year. That's $25,000 while your portfolio is down 35%. You're selling shares at a 35% discount every single month, during the exact window when your portfolio most needs to stay intact. You're locking in losses over and over at the worst possible time. Your money runs out around year 14. Not year 25, year 14. In 2008, retirement accounts lost a median of 38%. The market recovered within 5 years. Their portfolios didn't. because they were drawing down through the entire trough. The sequence ate them. Keep a separate cash buffer for the first 2 years of retirement, enough to live on without touching the market. If the market drops, you draw from the buffer, not your portfolio, and you let the engine recover. Is your advisor modeling this? Most aren't. Ask them. Watch what happens. Now. 3 things tend to hit men in their 50s simultaneously. Each one is manageable on its own. Together, they turn, "I'll figure it out," into, "I'm not sure I can retire at all." The first is aging parents. The average age at which American men begin providing financial support to an aging parent is 52. 1 in 5 Americans is doing it right now. The average monthly cost of assisted living in the United States today runs between $5,000 and $7,000. If your parent has $70,000 saved, roughly the median for that generation, you have 10 to 14 months before that bill lands on you. Personally, every month, indefinitely. The second is college. The average annual cost of a 4-year private university, including tuition, room, board, and fees, is now approximately $62,000 a year. One child, 4 years, $248,000. 2 kids aged 16 and 18. You're potentially looking at close to $400,000 in post-tax college spending over the next 6 years. The third is late divorce. Gray divorce, divorce after 50, has doubled since the 1990s. It now accounts for more than 1 in 4 divorces. The average documented net worth loss from a gray divorce for men is approximately 77%. Not of an abstract number, of everything you built. In a single proceeding, during a period of maximum emotional disruption, when your judgment is at its absolute worst. In 74 years, I've seen a great many things in this business, but watching a man simultaneously finance his mother's memory care, his child's university tuition, and his divorce attorney, that's something else entirely. Does your plan account for all 3 hitting at once? For most men it doesn't, because that conversation doesn't fit into a quarterly portfolio review. So it never happens. By 50, you've built an identity. Managing director, founding partner, the man who grew the division from 12 people to 300, the entrepreneur, the expert everyone calls. That identity is real. It earns real money. It carries real social weight, and that social weight is one of the most expensive things you will ever maintain. The neighborhood you live in signals your standing. The car in the driveway signals it. The club, the school, the watch, the vacation you mention in passing. Every single one is a fee you pay to maintain the signal. Unlike an advisory fee, there is no disclosure document for this one. Nobody is legally required to show you the compound cost of a status signaling lifestyle over 20 years. 2 men, same school, same income through their 40s. By 52, both earning around $220,000 a year. The first maintained a prestige footprint. Right suburb, right car, private school, country club, annual international trip, quietly drawing on a home equities line of credit to close the gap between income and lifestyle. At 50, $420,000 in retirement accounts, liquid net worth around $115,000. The second made deliberate choices. Used car, bought outright. Good school district, not the most expensive. International trip every 2 years. Maxed his 401k from 38 forward. $2,000 a month into a simple 3-fund index portfolio. At 52, $1.2 million across retirement and taxable accounts. Liquid net worth of approximately $950,000. Same income, same decade, same starting point. One bought approval, the other bought options. The darkest part, the first man knows. He knows exactly what happened. He just couldn't stop while it was happening, because every individual decision felt reasonable in the moment. That is not weakness. That is how the trap is built. The oil crisis, the market had dropped 42%. I knew 2 types of men then. The first sold in a panic. The second stayed quiet, held their positions, and some of them quietly added more. 10 years later, the difference was astronomical. But the real lesson wasn't about the market. The men who panicked had no buffer anywhere else. Their lifestyle required every cent they had. Nothing about that has changed today. Federal Reserve data shows the median retirement savings for Americans aged 55 to 64 is still around $185,000. Income has gone up. Spending has kept pace. Now, 3 things, not abstract. This week. First, calculate your burn rate. Open your bank account and credit card statements. Add up every fixed obligation, mortgage, car payments, insurance, tuition, club dues, subscriptions, minimum debt payments, any ongoing obligation to a family member. That total is your floor. What the world cost you just to stay still. If that number exceeds 60% of your monthly take-home, you have a structural problem. Budgeting doesn't fix structural problems. Eliminating obligations does. One of those anchors needs to go. You already know which one. Second, stress test your retirement plan. Don't model average returns. Model what happens if the market drops 30% in years 1 and 2 of your retirement and then recovers. Run that against your actual withdrawal rate. If your plan only survives a straight-line positive projection, you don't have a retirement plan. You have a prayer dressed up in spreadsheet formatting. Third, audit every fee in your financial life this quarter. Advisory fees, fund expense ratios, everything. If your total annual cost of investing exceeds 0.3%, you are overpaying. The difference between a 1.2% advisory fee and a 3 basis point index fund, compounded over 15 years on a $500,000 portfolio, is over $160,000. That is not a footnote. That is a retirement income stream. Leaving your account quietly every quarter in amounts too small to trigger any emotional response. That's precisely why you have to go looking for it yourself. The men who arrive at 60 with real options are not the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who calculated their burn rate, identified their anchors, and had the tolerance to cut some of them loose before the tide came in. Most men don't. Most men polish those anchors right up until the water is at their chin. Not because they're foolish. Because every anchor looked like an achievement when they dropped it. And reclassifying an achievement as a liability, psychologically, is one of the hardest things a human being can do. Do you have 20 minutes to calculate your burn rate? Those 20 minutes may be the most valuable 20 minutes of your financial life. I'm Ryan. I've been watching this game for 74 years. The window between where you are right now and retirement is not as wide as it feels. But it is real, and it is yours. Cut the anchor. See you in the next one.